awesome. So this is Jim Wiley, and I just love testimonies, what God is doing in people's lives. And also, Jim is newer to our church, and so wanted to have you all meet him and have an opportunity to hear what the Lord is doing in his life.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, my name is Jim Wiley. I'm Christy Hutchins' brother, and I'm new to the area. I moved up here from the Tri-Cities, Richland, Washington, and I thought Pastor Ryan called me a couple days ago and asked me to if I could share a little bit about my testimony and about myself. So I figured I'd just tell you where I'm from and what I'm all about. Back in 1980-ish, I was on the Sunday school bus when I got saved. So I remember, never forget, May 18th, 1980. I'm at Riverview Baptist Church in Pasco, Washington, and it started getting dark outside. One of the guys come in and says, I was probably, I'd been 8 years old. Mount St. Helens just erupted, so I'll never forget that. And, I hear people talk about, I became a Christian when I was 50 years old, or I became a Christian when I was 21 years old, and then they give me a date, or give us a date. And I can honestly say that I don't have a particular date when I was saved, but I do remember riding that Sunday school bus every Sunday, and I remember asking the Lord to come to my heart a bunch of times. And
just to make sure.
Here we are, 40 years later or whatever, and I guess what I can tell y'all is I've had some ups and I've had some downs. Probably more downs than ups. Let me just kind of tell you about my past few months here. At the end of August, beginning of September, let me just back up a little ways. My sister and I have been talking about me moving up here. I'm a carpenter by trade. I've always wanted to live in the mountains. We've been talking about it for probably 4 or 5 years now, and finally, I just pulled the trigger back in September, and I told myself I was afraid to leave, my hometown. I never left. I always had the security of my mom and my dad, my whole family that I grew up with. But I've always wanted to live in the mountains. Always wanted to live in the mountains, and so. I kind of was going through some tough times back home and just kind of in a rut, so to speak, which there's been a lot of ruts in my life. But not one time was I ever upset with the Lord. Of course, I had gone through a divorce about 15 years ago, and that really changed my life. I was walking really strong with the Lord at that time, my family and I. We attended church every Sunday. We became members of Temple Baptist Church, which I'm still a member of today. But anyhow, my 3 kids are adults now, and I really wanted to move away and just test myself. I didn't know if I could do it, what's going to happen. Lots of, I was scared, and I was afraid to pull the trigger. Well, back in September, I just said, Lord, I'm just going to put it in your hands, and I want you to just do what you will with it. And I'll tell you what, people, I wasn't here one day, and the phone rang. My sister had to work for me. And I stayed busy every single day up until Christmas time when we finished building Debbie Schultz's house. But not only that, the Lord put me with 2 Christian men to build this house. The first man that I met before I even got to build the house was Debbie Schultz's friend, Larry, which was the first man I met here. And he needed help building a shed for Debbie. So I helped him build that shed. And I'll be dadgummed if he didn't play the guitar, and a lot of you know I like to play guitar and music and stuff, and so the Lord put me with somebody that plays the guitar right off the bat, building a shed for somebody who's building a house that 2 Christian men are building. So I ended up building this house with Owen and Stuart, a couple friends of mine. So I know like 4 people in this town, with the exception of you all. You guys have been so amazingly friendly and welcomed me with open arms. It's not, I've never been the new guy, and I have I can't remember everybody's name, but I've met so many people and everybody's been so friendly. And, the men's Bible study is awesome. We got Brad Warfield leading it, and just the group of men that I've been studying Ephesians with. There's just so much knowledge and wisdom with all these people, and I really, really am thankful where I'm at right now. If it wasn't for the Lord, and I mean, you guys know how it is sometimes. We spend probably most of our time in trials and stuff, but there's always those times where we're just like Pastor Mac was saying, sometimes you're sharp as a knife, and sometimes you feel dull, you know. And honestly, there's probably more times where we feel dull, even when we are walking with the Lord. It's just sometimes it's higher and sometimes it's lower. And man, I'll tell you, when I handed my life over and I said, Lord, just do what you will, man, He put me right to work. He put me with you guys. He put me in a very, very strong Christian home with my sister. And by the way, one of the best brother-in-laws a guy could ever have, you know. Just strong. I'm really thankful. I'm serious. I'm really thankful for those guys. They're really strong Christians, and I can't say that I've really met anybody like them. And so, you know, all I can say is prayer does a lot of cool stuff. You know, I mean, I could go on and on about things that have happened in my 40 years of. I wish I could say walking with the Lord through all 40 of those years, but honestly I can't. But one thing I can tell you is anytime, it don't matter when or where or what I'm doing, if I ask the Lord to be with me or to give me wisdom or to just, you know, raise me up, He's right there always. I can't say that one time that I've asked the Lord to at least be with me, you know, and He has been. My son, 5-6 years ago, one Saturday morning, sitting there playing some cards, solitaire or something like this, day off of work, and my daughter calls me. By the way, my daughter's about to have a birthday. She'll be 26. She says, Justin's in the hospital. He had an accident. I don't know what happened. Justin's my middle boy. He's 25. And I'm like, what's going on? She said, we don't know. So anyhow, I drive down to the hospital, and there's all this commotion going on in this emergency room. I mean, all these doctors and nurses and I just knew the Lord, I just knew it. It was my son. And I walked into this room, and he'd had a longboarding accident, skateboarding down a hill at like 40 miles per hour and lost control. Of course, he wasn't wearing a helmet. Shattered his head. And, you know, the family shows up, and everybody, you know, everybody's in this room with all this commotion, and, you know, it's my son in there. And, you know, you know, obviously the first thing you do in something like that is you turn to prayer. And the surgeon comes in and says, you know, there's not much we can do. You know, I mean, it wasn't what I wanted to hear. I was just in shock. And thank the Lord for my nephew's wife. She started a prayer chain. And my son got so many prayers and so much support. And I'm here to tell you, there was a miracle with my son. Even the brain surgeon, he said he couldn't even believe it. He was not expected to live, but yet he lived. And I really feel it's the power of prayer. Mm-hmm. In fact, they used my son as an example during staff meetings at the ICU at Cadillac Hospital in Richland, Washington. What happened with him, the miracle that happened with my son was such an uplifting to all the nurses and stuff. They talk about him all the time because it doesn't always happen that way. And well, I'll tell you, you get that phone call, and as a parent, you never want to hear that. And so I'm just so thankful that my son is still here. He's been here once or twice. He's from Richland, but he comes up and visits. But I'll tell you, the power of prayer. I asked my youngest boy, Wyatt. He just turned 21, and he's a great kid. We love each other. He loves me. I love him. But we don't hardly talk. You know, and it really weighs on him. You know, I'll send him a message or give him a call, and won't hear back from him. Well, I said, Rich, one day I said, Brother Rich, I said, man, pray for me, man. I said, my son Wyatt, I just want to talk to him more. And I brought it up to Pastor Ryan. Well, what happens a week later? Wyatt's calling me. As a matter of fact, I mean, I make it a point every day, which I've always have been doing, is to text my kids or call them and say, hey, I love you, have a great day. Well, most time I wasn't hearing back from Wyatt. Well, let me tell you, he texts me every morning now. And thank God. I mean, if we don't pray, that's where I get my strength, and I know that's where you guys get yours. So, you know, I like to get up in the morning and pray because it really helps me start my day. So, I just thank you so much for welcoming me here, and I really enjoy the church. I enjoy. I'm a hymn guy, but I'm starting to like these guys up there. I really do. I'm starting to tap my foot to little music. So, but anyway, I guess that's my testimony. So, thank you so much.
Seriously, these are not just words. When we think about building or improving this space or whatever it is, this is what it's about right here, amen? It's about the love of God and love of people. And so we need to he wants to say one more thing.
Speaking of building spaces, you guys are meeting about this this new church, and you know, I'd like to think that I'd be a part of the building it.
Amen.
You know? So I'm here to serve the Lord any way I can. And, you know, there's more to life than money. And if the Lord put me up here to help you guys, you know, structure a new place to worship, and man, I'd love to be a part of it.
This is what it's about. Okay, let's stand. We're gonna end on this. Just before that, just before I pray, if you haven't signed in, Jill has the clipboard, and let me just announce who will be serving as our delegate and serving as on our lead team. You elected Josh Unzer to serve as our delegate. And so, Josh, every month now you're committed on Thursdays.
Yay.
And then if something were to happen to Josh, then Sam Godwin, you're serving as our reserve delegate. Part of their responsibility is coming to our conference in June, and that's really open to anyone. And I'd encourage